Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks for watching today. I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of two foundations. They both come from the same line, they both have a very similar name and claim, and I wanted to see how they stood up to each other. Before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed, would you please? If you're already subscribed, thank you so much, and let's jump into this. Alright, so my goal was to see if this very popular foundation from Lancome, the Teint Idole Ultra 24-Hour Wear, had the same sort of longevity as the Lancome, and it's the same name, Teint Idole Ultra Makeup Stick. So I don't know what the difference. This has SPF 15, this one it has SPF 21, but it's supposed to be all day wear and color with a soft matte finish, and this is supposed to be wear and comfort with retouch. It says wear and comfort, retouch-free, divine perfection. Those are like the three claims, like right here at the bottom. Now anything that says retouch-free, I expect you not to have to be retouched. We'll see. All right, so I decided also, since we were doing this, let's see if we can do a full face of just Lancome. So I started off with the Prep and Matte, and we're going to put the liquid foundation on this side and the stick on this side. They also are both the same number. I have the shade 90 Ivoire, which is the lightest shade they make, and then I have 90, I don't know if you can see it, 90 Ivoire here, also in the stick. These are probably going to be a little light for me. I bought these in the last year and a half. Let's just tell you as we go. So stick on this side. It might still be a little on the fair side, because last year I spent a lot of time in the sun during the summer. So on this half of my face I have the Lancome Tint Ultra Wear Stick Foundation. It feels a little heavy. I mean, I can feel it on my skin, and up close in a mirror it looks a little heavy. I don't know that you'll be able to see that, but let's put the other side on. I do have another clean foundation brush for the other side. So we're going to put the 24-hour, I just dropped the cap, on the other side. And let's see what we look like. So if you're wondering why I have such a light shade and I'm worried that it's going to be too fair for me, from about 2013 to 2018, I was spending 16 hours sleeping a day. If you're curious as to why, I had a lot of really extreme health struggles. I will link a video explaining what happened, and in the comment, well, in the box down below. But basically, I had brain surgery in 2005. It left me with a constant headache that never went away. 24/7, 7 to 8 out of 10 on the pain scale. It was just bad. And for years I managed. I got up, I did stuff, had kids, went to work, and then I got to the point where I couldn't anymore. And so I was spending so much time in bed. And guess what happens when you spend time in bed? Your face does not see the light of day. I came out of it looking like a vampire. Because I was as pale as I think I had been since maybe the day I was born. I was very, very, very pale. And then 2018 was the year that things started getting back on track for me. Last year was a good year health-wise for me. So I went from being in bed and sleeping 16 hours a day to finally being able to get out and to do stuff and to spend time with my family. And so last summer, there was a lot of time spent at our local community pool, and although I do wear SPF 50 every single day religiously and I reapply like a fiend, I still caught some unnecessary sun. I mean, there's only so much you can do. You can sit in the shade, you can put on SPF 50, but if you're outside more, you are going to get some sun on your skin. So that's what happened, and I feel like the shades that I had been wearing previously, the Ivoire 90, now is too fair for me. I think the 100 would be better. I do have the 100 in a different Lancome foundation. This one here is the Teint Miracle. We're not using that one today, but it is a better match for me skin tone wise. But let's take a look at these before we get too much farther. So here is the stick foundation, and here is the liquid foundation. It's hard to see. Maybe I'll zoom the camera in so you can see it a little bit more. I feel like I have a cat hair right here. You know, I never have cat hair on my face until I'm recording a video. And then it's like there's always a cat hair on my face. And I've not been snuggling my kitty cat. Let's zoom in a little bit and take a better look at this. So on this side, I feel like we're getting more of a slightly natural with a little bit of glow on it. And on this side, I feel like we're a little bit more matte. And I don't know, I feel like it's really, I don't know that it's catching, but I feel like I have more product here than I would want. And no amount of brushing it is helping. They both look a little dry. I'm staring in my mirror here, and the hard part is I don't have any concealer on. But if you're looking at it, I don't feel like either of these foundations make my 44-year-old skin look their healthiest. There is better coverage in this than what I'm used to using, but it doesn't necessarily balance out enough in the coverage that makes me want to use it. I want my skin to look less cakey, and I think that this is going to look a little dry in a little bit. So let's back out, put on the rest of our face, and we'll keep going from there. The concealers I'm going to use today, I do have the Maquicomplete from Lancome, which is, and I have the Corrector shade, which is basically a yellow base shade. And then I do have the Effacernes, and here's the hard part. I have it in the lightest shade they make, which is 110. I think it might be too dark. We'll see how we do here. So this on the dark. I have a hyperpigmentation spot here, a little bit of darkness on the corners, and we'll blend it out. Let's see what happens if we put on this Effacernes. It is a hair darker. Let's see. I've got the concealer on. I was looking for a powder. I used to have a pressed powder, their dual finish powder, and I think I finished it because I can't find it. And I also used to have one of their loose powders. Their, oh, I'll have to throw a picture of it up. It was one of their Absolute, I don't remember. It's a beautiful powder. It was too dark for my skin tone on top of these really fair foundations. So I did end up picking up this a couple years ago. They don't make it anymore, but I'm going to see if I can use this to set my face with. This is supposed to be one of their Blush Subtil shimmers. But it's basically a very light powdered, a light colored powder with a little bit of glow in it. So we'll throw some of this on with a clean brush under the eyes, other places, and see what we think. I'm already not loving it. Let me tell you, when I bought this powder initially, it was sold to me as an all over glowy face powder. I know that since they don't make this anymore, I can't really say this is a bad product, but I think when they first made it, it was, I mean, this is never going to be a blush for anybody. Not even for the fairest skin tones will this ever be a blush, because I have it all over my face. It is a little glowy. It's really heavy. And I think they realized they had a gap in what their products offered, and they have changed that, and they have other powders and they have other highlights, because this is what I was sold before they had like actual highlighting powders. So okay, so I'm going to be using a product that was from a couple of summers ago. This was their Belle bronzer and blush harmony. It's kind of warm. We're going to use a little bit of this bronzer and the blush in the center here for today. Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's a lot. The highlighter I'm going to use today is the Lancome Dual Finish Highlighter in Shimmering Buff 01. This is the lightest shade they have. We'll just throw this on the tops of the cheekbones and maybe everywhere else as well. I'm at the point now where I feel like if I don't put a little setting spray on this to kind of dull down the powder, it's just going to be too powdery and too cakey. So I'm going to hope that this kind of helps to meld and marry it all together before we keep going. I don't have a setting spray. I'm just going to use some Fix Plus from MAC. So one of the things that I don't have a full size of is an eyeshadow from Lancome. I used to buy these little 5-pan color design palettes. I have 2 of them here. These are the little like size that they give you in gift. This one here is in Fresh Nude, and this one here is in Bronze Amour. I think I'm going to go more I can't even keep it open, the Fresh Nude. Today, the reason I never buy these is I used to have a couple years ago, and then when I started discovering other eyeshadow formulas, I liked other ones better. But we'll just see how we do using these today. So I'm going to throw a little liner on, some brows and mascara, and we'll be right back. All right, time for some lips. I think out of all the Lancome products, because I am a lipstick lover, I have the most lip products. One of their lipsticks that they've had out for, I don't know, maybe a decade-ish now, are these Rouge and Love. These tend to be more long-wearing and matte, and they're a really beautiful formula. I have 4 of those. I do also have some of their matte shakers. I think these are really fun and a very nice and effortless way to wear a comfortable matte lipstick formula on the lips. The other thing they have are their L'Absolu Rouge. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. It's L'Absolu Rouge? I don't know. And they're in fun packaging where you press a button on the top, it releases this, and they come out like this. They're beautiful. They come in a wide range. They come in sheer, they come in cream, they come in satin, they come in matte. So I have some of those. I also have some glossy shakers, and I have like every other type of gloss they make. Do I have a trend here? So this one is their Gloss in Love. This is a sample. I have their L'Absolu gloss, their L'Absolu lacquer gloss, and these are the Metallique. This is Magnetic Mauve, but it's basically a gloss that is more metallic. So I don't know, I'm thinking since I have a really neutral eye going on today, it's time for something a little bolder. Let's see if we can find a red lipstick. I'm going to throw on some of this Rouge in Love. This is in shade 185. This was my favorite red from this line. I used to have another red from this line, but I didn't like it as much as this one. So it's not here anymore. Let's talk about the makeup. So if you look at it, I feel like spraying it with the Fix Plus, that glycerin-based face spray, really did help kind of knock down some of the powderiness, kind of helped everything kind of come together. And if I'm looking at it here, I feel it looks a little bit more natural than before. But overall, at this very moment, I feel like you can see more of the foundation on the stick foundation side. I feel like it's kind of grabbing in areas here. Already settling here into my fine lines around like the nasal labial fold, like right in through here. Also the folds, the small wrinkles in my forehead, I feel like it's more obvious on the stick foundation side. So if you have skin where makeup likes to kind of settle into your crinkles like it does in mine, if you're looking for and wanting to try, I may recommend the Teint Idole Ultra. We'll have to see. All right, so it's time for the final check-in. I forgot this morning to show you my phone and go, look what time it is. It is. So I hope you'll trust me, but it was just about 9:40 when I started. And by the time I was done putting my full face on, it was 10 minutes after 10. So it took me about half an hour to put my face on. But right now, it's 9:20. So that means that this was 11 hours strong today. And I think for 11 hours, it looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom you in and we'll take a closer look and look at a few things. All right, so I don't know if you can see, like right in here. Got a little collection of product. It also, like right here on the nose, it looks like it's worn off just a little bit. Also, like right here, I will say, since it's cold outside, the cold usually makes my nose run. So I was doing a lot of this today with Kleenex, just kind of lightly wiping. And I wasn't like grabbing my nose and blowing and rubbing. It was just kind of like a little this. So that could be from that, because I do notice like the makeup has completely worn off right here in my septum and parts of my nostrils. But over here, this was the side where we had the liquid foundation, and I feel like I have more like settling right in through here, like the corner of my nose, if you will. And I think it looks a little bit drier on this side. Now it looks equally dry on both sides. Trying to think of other places I can show you. It's hard to see, but I do have like a little laugh line that kind of runs right through here. And I find that when I straighten it out, you can see a place where there isn't foundation and then a place where there is. Right there. So I feel like it does slightly collect. So this is the stick foundation side, and over here, not as bad. I feel like on the forehead, as I'm sitting here crinkling and wrinkling my forehead, the one place where you see how I have this one, I don't get like the traditional 11s, I have like an offset one on my forehead crinkles, but I feel like you can definitely see a little bit more makeup in that crease and not as much in some of these other lines that are going across the tops of my forehead. So I think the place that it looks the worst is the nose, and it's equally as bad on both sides. The high today was 23 degrees, and so on either end of the warm part of the day, it's ridiculously cold, and I do have a lot of stuff on my face to try and keep it hydrated, and I layer stuff on and then I spray hydrating sprays on throughout the day. But I do feel like overall, for how many hours was that? 11 hours, it did pretty good. I'm gonna back out because we're a little close still. So as I go back and I look at these and I think about what I remember them both wearing well. I do remember preferring the way that the liquid looked on my face. I'm not gonna say that the stick foundation is bad, but I do feel like in the warmer months, like in the dead of summer, when I've worn this, it got a little slippy. It could be that I wasn't wearing the right primer with it, but I felt like today it didn't go anywhere. The high today was 23 degrees where I live, so it definitely is cold here. If it never gets above freezing, it's pretty cold, but I definitely feel like beyond these two, with the exception of how it plays in the corners of my nose, I do like the way the liquid looks just a hair more. I do feel like the stick foundation felt a little thick and makeup-like on my face, but it kind of, maybe the oils in my face or the hydration I had on my face kind of played well with it, and now it doesn't really look as makeup-y. So I feel like this one will wear well, but I do remember it breaking down a little bit more in the summertime. This still looks like what I remember it to be, and with the exception of where I was wiping my nose because the cold was making my nose run, I really don't see makeup wearing off in other places. I do see it settling a little bit in the line here and a little bit in the nasolabial fold, I can't even say it. The nasolabial folds around my mouth, and then just a little teensy bit like right in the corners of my nose. I'm not mad at either of these foundations. As for the rest of my face, I feel like the lips, I did touch it up once, and I feel like if you think about the size of a dime, that was about as much wear as I got. I had a really nice, like the edges of my lips were still quite red. They weren't as glossy as if I put it on the first time, but it definitely looked like I was wearing an even layer of red lipstick, except for right here in the center, like a dime size amount, smaller than a penny. Yeah, but it was just like right here, and that's kind of where I touched it most. I gave everything a one quick coat before I stepped out the door after dinner tonight, but I really felt like the lipstick wore well. And I did find Remember, I'm 44. I do have a few more fine lines. I don't remember this happening before, but I did find, especially right here at the bottom and in the corners, it did kind of bleed and feather a little bit out into the fine lines. But that could be easily solved with a lip liner. I like that I'm still have noticeable cheek products on, blush and bronzer. And I do feel like there still is a little hint and not as much of highlight. And my mascara is still powering on strong, and so are the brows. The hard part is the brow products that I use, they don't make this anymore. And the product that I know they replaced it with, people are not giving good reviews to. This is Le Crayon Poudre, and I have it in the shade Taupe, and this is all I have left. And what they replaced it with some sort of a powder eyebrow pencil, and people are saying it's terrible, the colors aren't the same, it doesn't perform the same. And so I feel like this formula is better, but I haven't tried any other Lancome brow products, but I know I do love that formula in that shade. But I feel like even the liquid liner that I put on did really well. I can still see it. I put on a really thin line. It hasn't gone anywhere, and it lasted 11 hours today. I always thought that this Drama Liqui-Pencil was like budge proof, but I do see that if I wear it above my lash line, because it's a pencil you have to sharpen, I can never get like a really teeny tiny super sharp line without twist, apply, twist, apply, like I'm always sharpening, and that's how these get really stubby really quick. But you can do that, and it does work really well, but I like to use it like up in my tight line. I did have a little bit, just the tiniest little hint of kind of like transfer and leaking, like right outside, like right on the edge of my eye here, where tears come out, and then it was kind of collecting right here. It wasn't bad. I've had other ones that have like been like truly offensive, and I feel like this is a pretty good long-lasting pencil. I feel like it does last better if you put it not in your waterline, but for a waterline for 11 hours, I feel like it did pretty good. Overall, I kind of liked it. I'm quite impressed. I forgot how much I liked Lancome makeup. And I know Lancome is expensive, and I know that it's not something everyone can afford. But if you've been thinking about products that are worth it, foundation is worth it from Lancome. I would say mascaras are worth it from Lancome. And then if you like a high-end lipstick, they've got some really nice formulas. I don't feel like with as good as drugstore lipsticks are getting, and especially ColourPop, they offer so much. I don't know that you need to pay the high-end price for these lipsticks, but if you like them and like little cool things like this make you happy with the packaging, the little button on top that releases the lipstick, or you like the idea of like a little mini shaker, whether it's a gloss or a matte, they do have some fun things. And I do think that if that's something you're willing to splurge on, that I totally do that too. So I would say that the lipsticks are beautiful. Worth the price? I don't know, but it's definitely an experience that I enjoy enough to have multiples. So I think overall, there's some really good products, and I don't think that any of them are terrible. Would I ever buy a full-size eyeshadow palette from Lancome? Probably not now. I don't know that I would buy any more cheek products from Lancome, but I do feel like the ones that I have work pretty well. But there are other ones that I tend to like a little bit more at a different price range. But I think overall it lasted pretty well, and I still look like a mostly pulled together person. Nothing 100% betrayed me. Oh, but thank you so much for watching today. I hope if this wasn't helpful, at least was entertaining to see, okay, which side lasts better, how are things gonna turn out. Let me know if you have any ideas for videos you would like to see, and if these more full face one brand are exciting to you. I'm gonna see if I can cobble together at least a few more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon.